Good afternoon, sports fans. It's Monday night. Sports Hounds are live exclusively here on A2D Radio. I'm Rob Brakeman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby behind the scenes producing the show as usual. We are streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. You miss anything, any of the live content here on A2D, download us, stream us in podcast form, Spreaker, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Takeover's real. Takeover's everywhere. We have a lot going on tonight. It's week 1 of the NFL, people. Next Sunday.
Hopefully.
Stop. They're going to be playing football. It's kind of snuck up on us, but this time, next week, the Eagles are either going to be 0-1 or 1-0. We're going to talk about it. We're supposed to have Freddie Solomon on to talk about it. Fortunately, he had some family things going on. We'll have him on next week. Giants, this time next Monday, Brad, your Giants will be kicking off against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home Monday night. Live reaction show right here on the Sports Hounds for the Giants Steelers. And then, obviously, we're going to take a look at some big picture flyers tonight. Obviously, Game 7 didn't go their way, Brad. But I think the Flyers have a bright future. Before we get into that,
absolutely.
Let's take care of some business first. He's our doc. Make him yours too, Dr. Paul Vidal. Each and every episode of the Sports Hounds brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. 3 convenient locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. Like I said, he's our doc. Make him yours too. Also, check out our gutter guys at AM Buck Services. They are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Give them a call, 856-879-5530. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Brings us to our poll question, Brad, brought to you by Philly Drinkers. Buy merch, people. We need as many human billboards as possible for the fastest growing sports media company in the country. Brad, we've been getting 100,000 views. Every time we go live, Brad, we get 100,000 views these days. Takeover's real. The takeover is now. Get your shit at phillydrinkers.com. Brad, the poll question. The Flyers season was a success. We got hashtag agree, hashtag disagree. Why don't you lead it off, Brad?
Well, based on your demanding fan base, I would think that they probably don't think so, but I would beg to differ because I think if you're a Flyer fan, you should be very, very happy with what's going on with them right now. Okay, they lost to a team that has a little bit more playoff experience. Is a little bit better coached right now because their coach has been with them a couple of years, and I mean it is what it is. Look, you have to look at it. You have to look at it this way. You have a lot of young players who are making their first playoff appearance. Okay, Carter Hart's making his first playoff appearance. I was saying on Facebook that it's very few rookie goalies who start the season as the number 1 goalie win the Stanley Cup. Most of the rookies who actually have won the Stanley Cup, I did some research because everybody was kind of going back and forth with me. Really, the only one who did it from start to finish I could find was Cam Ward, to be honest with you. I mean, Ken Dryden, when he won his first Stanley Cup, I know he won it his rookie year, but Rogie Deschamps was the main goalie that year, and then he got injured. And then it was between Phil Meir and Ken Dryden for the playoffs. And, they went with Ken Dryden, which was obviously the right move, and he won the Stanley Cup, and the rest was history. But Ken Dryden, I think, only played 12 games his rookie season. Matt Murray, for the most part, was not the number 1 goalie that season. It was Fleury. And I can't remember if Fleury got hurt or he was ineffective, but Murray took over and won the Stanley Cup. But, I mean, as far as, going from start to finish, really the only goalie I can think of besides for Cam Ward that went from start to finish with the number 1 goalie and won it, in his rookie year was Patrick Roy. Now, folks, if you can tell me who else was able to actually do it as the starter from the beginning to the end, I'm interested because I don't think that happened, other than him. I mean, you can make a case for Bennington, but Jake Allen was their goalie last year until the playoffs, and then he went on this magical run. So good for Carter Hart. He took the pressure of being the number 1 goalie. Took this team as far as it could go, and they ran out of gas. Lost to a team that's a little bit more experienced in the playoffs. And you know what? They're going to have to get used to playing against different types of teams in the playoffs and know how to deal with certain types of matchups. The Flyers ran into a team which is a real good defensive team and a team that you have to be super patient with when you play. You know, if you show impatience and show your youth, which I think the Flyers were very guilty of for the most part in this series, the Islanders are going to burn you because that's the kind of hockey they play. They basically are an excellent defensive team. They clog up the middle of the ice. They basically clear the front porch very, very well. And, you have to be patient and wait for the Islanders to make mistakes. And they'll make them. But, again, it's a patience thing. If you try to do too much with them, they're going to strip you of the puck. And you can ask Claude Giroux about that on Saturday night. And, that's how they end up scoring. And when they get 2-on-1s, they're very good at it. They don't give up 2-on-1s. They don't give up 3-on-2s. And they're great penalty killers. I mean, what were the Flyers? 0 for 13 on the power play against them in the series?
It was brutal. I don't have the exact numbers in front of them, but I
think they were 4 for 52 counting the series.
That sounds something.
Yeah,
two of the 4 goals came on a 5-minute major.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's very hard. It's very hard to win in the NHL playoffs without a real good power play. I mean, a couple of teams did it. The Boston Bruins in 2011 won the Stanley Cup, and I don't think they scored more than 1 or 2 power play goals the entire run. But that team was great 5-on-5 and had enough weapons that it didn't matter. I mean, the Flyers right now, I think, are in a real good place. The only thing they really need at this point, and I've been saying this since the middle of the season, if they had a sniper, a real, complete sniper kind of player, a guy who can come down the right wing and just blast a wrist shot and beat a guy from the top of the faceoff circle, that kind of a sniper, okay? That's what they need to win the Stanley Cup. And I can tell you right now who is on the market that they might be able to get. And that would be Winnipeg's Patrick Laine. For some bizarre reason, and I don't know why, Winnipeg wants to deal the guy. That would be your guy. Yeah, if it was me, if I'm running,
guy's a stud.
Right. I don't know what's going on in Winnipeg. I don't know if it's a money thing.
They're pretty good, aren't they? They're good. They're playoffs.
Winnipeg is very good. I don't know if it's a cap thing. Because of the flat cap, maybe they have to get rid of him. I don't know, but from what I'm hearing, and I think you hockey fans out there can back me up, he's on the market. Don't know why, but he is. There's a couple guys out there who I think could be big helps. Tyler Toffoli is a free agent from Vancouver. He was traded there by the Kings. I think he'd be a nice player for you guys to get. I think playing with Giroux and Voracek, you put his right-handed stick on the first line and then move Konechny down to the second line. I think that might work. Konechny had a tough playoff.
Konechny definitely had a tough playoff.
Yeah, I mean, but again, this is the thing. This is a learning experience for a lot of these guys. It's very hard to be a great team and just go and win the Stanley Cup when basically most of your players haven't really gone through it before. It's really hard, and it was a little unrealistic to think that they could actually win the Stanley Cup. And if you recall, Rob, when we had Jim Jackson on, he even said it, that how great they were doing with the regular season, but we'll see what happens in the playoffs. And again, it's different.
Well, I mean, Patrick Laine, I know Toronto, they're dumping salary. They seem to be having some cap problems up there.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some. Jack Eichel is another one. Jack Eichel's another one. Now I know the Flyers probably have, after they re-signed some of their restricted free agents, they probably are only going to have maybe $1 million to $1.5 million of cap space. But the thing is, with that, you can always find a way. Whether you have the other team, hold money, hold some money, and you throw in a draft pick or something along those lines. There's always a way to circumvent that. Cliff Fletcher knows what he's doing. I think you'll find that he'll bring in somebody who's a sniper type of player who can put put points on the board, and that's really all they need. They have enough guys who stand in front of the net. I mean, they definitely were trying to get to the front of the net the whole series. I mean, every time their best play seemed to be when they got the puck back to the point and then they all jammed the net, and screened the goalie, and they were doing that. And I give them credit for trying to do that. It definitely worked, particularly in the overtimes. But again, I just think it's a question of when everybody's jamming the net and the Islanders were playing in layers defensively and were kind of crowding the net. They needed to have that guy who you could give the puck to and move in a little bit and take that wicked wrist shot. And also a guy who's a little speedy that could score off the right. That's why I'm thinking about Patrick Laine and why I don't know why Winnipeg wants to trade him. I mean, if somebody out there is a Winnipeg fan that watches a lot of their games,
Wilder. Where's Wilder at?
Yeah, I mean, maybe he could explain why they would want to move him. But I read on hockey rumors they want to get rid of him. So that's a perfect guy. Again, Toffoli, who's a free agent, he would work. Jack Eichel, who seems to be unhappy in Buffalo. I was thinking about Jack Eichel and how the Flyers could possibly make a move with the money with him. And the only thing I could come up with, and this may not sound even for Buffalo, but if they sent them Giroux, okay, if Buffalo were to take Giroux, and then the Flyers sweetens it up with a couple of good young prospects, and have Giroux be the captain of a bunch of kids, maybe that might work. I mean, I don't know if Giroux has a no trade clause. I don't know that. So again,
I think he does.
If he does, that may be the end of that idea. But I'm trying to think money wise how it might work. Maybe JVR.
We're going to talk about Giroux because I'm not happy with the man. I'm kind of a Giroux guy. I'm not one of these guys that crushes Giroux all the time. I think he's probably a top 5 Flyer of all time, but I need more from my captain. And my answer to the poll question, I know I freak out and I wear my emotions on my sleeve and everyone's expecting me to freak out and crush the Flyers right now. I'm going to crush them, but they had a successful season. They won a playoff season. They won a playoff series, against the Montreal Canadiens. It wasn't an easy series at all. They won the series with pure talent because I think the Canadiens outplayed them for a lot.
But you know what, though? They learned something in that series. Okay?
Correct.
They learned that, again, remember how I was discussing how they have to have, against certain teams, you just have to be patient. Okay? They learned to be a little bit more patient against the Canadiens because the Canadiens weren't allowing them to get into their rhythm and get that stretch pass going and the turnaround, because that's Alain Vigneault hockey. The defenseman getting the puck up the ice quickly, the forwards with the stretch pass. That's his.
I think they have really good defensemen to fit that system.
Oh, they absolutely.
Everything about X&O hockey, about the systems they're running out there, what style of coach AV plays, what system he plays. I really don't know. I watch the games, sort of educated, and I love my Flyers.
Well, I mean, I got to watch AV
because I love Stanheim. I love Philip Myber. There's way more. The season was successful. You have a franchise goalie. You got a lot of young players. And to speak to the point about trade bait, Flyers have a lot of good prospects on the farm. Some of them are.
I saw the comment that just flashed up on the screen. Joel, I think the guy's name was Joel. Joel, if you change that to a first-round pick, I think that could possibly happen. I think he wanted JVR, Owen Nolan, and a second-round pick for Eichel. If you give Buffalo the first-round pick, you might be able to get that done, because that's the kind of trade that might work. I think you do something along those lines. Yeah, that's possible. But it's my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, guys, because again, I'm not a Flyer fan. I don't watch all their games. I just watch their playoff games. I'm a Ranger fan. I watch all their games. Just watching them, I think they just need a sniper, whether it's a center that's a sniper or right wing or left wing. It doesn't matter. They just need a guy who can beat you with a 35-foot wrist shot. That's
two things.
That's the thing. Either that, between that, and I mean, I think they've got enough guys who score dirty goals. I mean, I thought that was a problem originally, but after watching them in this playoff series, most of those guys are pretty good at getting in front of the net, screening the goalie, getting a lot of tip-ins. They're good at that. And I think that maybe a guy to help him out with a veteran defenseman who's run power plays before to play the point, because it seemed like they were panicking a little bit on the power.
Yeah, I mean, I can't I can't watch Giroux run the power play anymore from the point. I can't do it.
They have
I
to
mean,
get somebody.
season was brutal. If you want to have Giroux run the point of power play unit number 2, okay. But look, it was a successful season.
Oh, very much so. Listen,
You have a coach, you have a goalie, you have young talent, you have
one of the best defensemen in the NHL in Provorov. He is
Provorov is awesome. He's a youngster.
He's really good. I was really impressed with him.
But 2 things stuck out to me watching the Islanders beat the Flyers through all the 7 games, not just Game 7. The Islanders had way more players that were a pain in the ass to deal with. So did the Canadians. Like you had,
yeah, they got a lot of miserable players.
You had Letty, you had Anders Lee, you had Pajot, you had Barzell, you had just all these guys that are just making plays left and right, and are just you got to know where they are every time they're on the ice. I didn't get that sense from the Flyers.
It's just a team spirit.
I don't think that Islanders fans went, "Oh man, freaking Coots is on the ice. We got to know where he is." Flyers don't have enough guys like that, and that goes to your sniper point. But it also goes to just guys who are gonna make the right play in crunch time. The Islanders never messed up. Rarely. Like you said, they didn't give up odd man rushes. They got in front of the net. They did all the little things that this Flyers team, this young Flyers team, needs to learn how to do.
Right, and keep in mind, Rob, their Islanders have been in the playoffs 3 years in a row. Okay,
I get it, and just because I think the Flyers had a successful season doesn't mean I'm not crushing them for not showing up in games.
No, and you can't. They really only played good hockey for 10 minutes on Saturday night. No, the first 10 minutes they were pretty good, but it seemed like after the Islanders scored that goal, they really started sagging, and then the Islanders jumped on them for another one, and then it seemed like after the Flyers came out in the second period, they came out looking for blood. They hit the post. And then it seemed like after they hit the post, they were defeated. That was like, oh, it's not going to be our night. It just seemed to me like they felt like it wasn't going to be their night after that happened.
And then the second thing is Barzell. Barzell was the difference in the series. The Islanders
I told you that guy's a great player.
He's an unbelievable hockey player.
Yeah, and he's 22, 23 years old. He's a pain in the neck. He's fast and he goes to all the scoring areas, and he's a terrific playmaker. I mean, anybody who thinks he's not a superstar does not watch enough hockey. I mean,
he's 1,000% a superstar.
He is a.
And the Flyers didn't have that. They don't have that on their team. They don't have a guy like Barzell on their team.
Well, Giroux is not like that anymore. I mean,
no.
At 32, Giroux is a little bit is kind of slow, and he's slow. He's not a first line center anymore. You know, not on a Stanley Cup caliber team. Okay, on a team that's ready to win the Stanley Cup, he'd be perfect as a second center. But you need that young sniper out there. You know, on the first line, you really do. Couturier, I think he's a center, is he not?
Yes.
Yeah. So you put him out there. You get your sniper, and
AV was rolling. First off, Coots got hurt, and that was not good for the Flyers' chances either, because Coots is one of the best two-way players in all hockey.
Oh, he's
entering his prime.
Yep. Yes, he can. And he's
AV puts 93 Voracek, 28 Giroux, and 14 Couturier. He puts them on the same line.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think Couturier should be centering his own line with a younger sniper type player,
like Coots and Konechny. Put them together, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And again, if you can find a, I don't understand why maybe you didn't put Van Riemsdyk with those two. I think
Van Riemsdyk has been terrible.
Well, you know, that's something that
he scored the one game and kind of made it okay, but JVR he's public enemy number one. A lot of people are getting on JVR.
Yeah, because he had a bad season, or because he had a bad playoff.
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, he was hurt a lot,
and he makes money, and he makes a lot of money.
Yeah, and he was injured too, wasn't he?
Right.
Okay, so I mean,
I think it was against the Canadians. He was a healthy scratch.
Yeah, that's not good. that's not good. But again,
Yeah, but they're not happy with him in Flyer land.
Yeah, I think with the Flyers really, I think are one player away, maybe two. I mean, I could see if you got added a defenseman that could quarterback, that could really be a good quarterback in the power play, or a forward that could be a good quarterback in the power play. That's kind of what you really need to do at this point. You know, that will. I mean, a guy that's going to take that every time he gets the puck, the other team's going to be like, uh-oh, and really be worried about. That's
Flyers don't have that at all.
Yeah, that's what they're missing right now. And if you take
all the teams that are playing right now, we go through the conference finals too before we get into some football
all
too.
the teams that are playing right now have that guy.
Correct.
The Islanders, I mean, Point on the Lightning, Victor Hedman, they're loaded. I mean, they are absolute. Killorn, some of these other guys on Tampa Bay, they are absolutely loaded with snipers and guys that you have to pay attention to all the time.
And then, this is the last thing out of me before we get to some comments here, because I want to hear from the Flyers Nation. I want to hear from Eagles Nation. I want to hear from Giants Nation. I want to hear from everybody. I want to hear from everybody tonight. We're covering a lot of bases here tonight. But too many no-shows, Brad, for the Flyers. Giroux was a
too many passengers, absolutely.
And then my young guys, they're young, but I can't have that out of Konechny in these playoffs. He was non-existent.
No, that was definitely a learning experience for him.
Well, this is his learning experience, and I'm willing to give him a chance to redeem himself and not crush him too bad because he is young, and it was their first playoffs. And I think the Islanders might have been a better hockey team.
This is over the Islanders have been going on an uphill climb now for 3 years in a row. They've been getting better and better in the playoffs. I mean, last year, the first year, I think they made it. They won the first round and then lost in the second round. Last year, they upset Pittsburgh and then got clobbered by Carolina. This year, they killed Washington, and that after they killed Washington, that was one of the reasons I picked them to beat the Flyers. That and the Flyers didn't look too good against Montreal, but I mean, the Islanders are definitely going on the upswing, and they're going to be a tough out. Tampa Bay, I think Tampa Bay is going to win the series. I like them in 6, but I think it's going to be a very tough series for Tampa Bay. And if Tampa Bay gets careless, they could fill the net, the Islanders.
I'm not betting against the Islanders at all. That guy Barzell is awesome. And I know Tampa's good. I watched quite a bit of that Tampa Bay versus
Kucherov is a tremendous player too. I mean, the Tampa Bay is loaded with guys who can score, and the Islanders are really going to have to. Again, they're good enough defensively to keep them in check. But again, if the Islanders make mistakes, that team, and they are patient, and they've been in the playoffs a lot, I think that team's going to win. And I just get this feeling that after they won that 5 overtime game against Columbus, that they finally got over the hump.
Yeah, they figured something out.
I mean, I think that it's kind of like when the Capitals finally beat the Penguins in the playoffs. After that, it was just like you knew nobody was going to beat them, and I'm getting that same feeling with Tampa Bay. I mean, they killed Boston, Rob. They killed them, and Boston is got. I know they didn't have a lot. I get that, but Boston was good. I mean, and Tampa Bay made mincemeat out of them.
All right, let's get to some comments here. Joseph Farowski, 3 days. 3 days from now, we'll be watching football. Absolutely. Chiefs Texans, the opener Thursday night. He had his fantasy draft. He's ready for some football. Andy Ritter, it's 1-0. None of this 0-1 talk. Either way, have a good show. A2D Radio. Victoria Taylor's in the house. Tori Takeover. It's our newest member to A2D Radio. She hops on broadcast sometimes. Check her out on Twitter as well. Jake Friel, what's up, boys? Definitely agree with the poll. No one expected this team to make the playoffs this season, and they're in a great position for major success in the future.
I'm glad to hear that a lot of you guys are feeling that way.
And Jake is on the road to victory now every Friday night talking some birds. So check him out on there. Pete Evans. Pete's another one of our family members, does a terrific job. He's on Birds of a Feather. That's tomorrow night, week 1. Right? Yeah, tomorrow night. Today's Monday. Happy Labor Day, fam. Flyers over as a whole was a decent season, but the ending on Saturday in that fashion was disappointing. Yeah, I mean that's an unacceptable performance.
That was rough. That was they.
I mean, you went down 1-0 and they kind of rolled over, which I don't like to see at all. And like I said, with these young pups, this is your one. This is your one no-show.
Yeah, you gotta listen.
Remember the Phillies? Remember the Phillies in 2007? They got swept and embarrassed by the Rockies. Then next year they came back loose.
But that was their moment. They learned from it. It's hard. How many teams do you see that just go right into the playoffs the first year that they're good, that they're really good, okay, and then win the whole thing? That's very rare in any sport, especially hockey. That doesn't happen very often.
Agree with the poll. Victoria Taylor agrees with the poll. It's a step up from past Flyer season, but disagree because we're the damn 1 seed. Yeah, and
you weren't. Listen, yeah, you were the 1 seed by the Twins, but really,
I won.
You were the 4 seed after the season from the season.
Yeah, I wouldn't let them be in the 1 seed in that Mickey Mouse round.
That was
had to determine the seed. Your opinion on whether this was a successful season or not.
I mean, you would have gotten to play Boston instead of the Islanders.
And you would have got swept.
And I don't know if they would have beaten Boston either. I mean, we'll never know that. But
completely agree. Flyers are super young. If Chuck Fletcher can work some magic and get rid of Voracek and JVR contracts this fall and pick up some speed and scoring, combine that with the experience our young guys got this season, Flyers will be cup contenders for years to come.
I think they already are cup contenders, but they need a sniper. And I'm noticing a lot of you guys agree with me, and I appreciate the fact that you guys agree with me. Again, sometimes I get bashed because I'm not a Flyer fan, and I tell the truth. But at least now I know people are agreeing with me.
Yeah, you need – and then, I'm not sure. Maybe it's time to get the C off Giroux and put it on Couturier. I don't know. Because He's what I saw, and I love G. I really do. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism in this city, but I can't have that playoff performance from my captain. Like that can't happen. Like the captain's got to lead. The captain's got to be the head of the snake. The captain's got to make shit happen. And Claude Giroux didn't make anything happen. And I think he should be held accountable for his play or lack thereof, and I think they should rip that C off of him and put it on Couture.
They very well might. As I've told you before about Alain Vigneault, he does have his doghouse, and if you get into his doghouse, he will do that. I mean, there's no question about that. So, I mean, he'll do the right thing. He's a good coach, guys. He was. He just the thing with his problem with the Rangers was the fact that he relied on a couple of defensemen whom he shouldn't have, and that was. I can tell you right now, he shouldn't have depended on Mark Stahl. He shouldn't have depended on Nick Holden. Okay, those are the two guys he screwed up and played too much, and that
Jason Bennett
is why he got fired.
Jason Bennett, get rid of Nate Thompson's and a few others. I mean, look, Nate Thompson is not the reason.
He's a third line or a fourth line player, guys.
He's a fourth line guy. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't worry about. I mean, the bottom. Listen, your fourth line was not great this year, and the Islanders' fourth line was a lot better. Okay, I give you that, but you didn't lose because your fourth line didn't do the job. You
lost because your captain didn't show up. You lost because Konechny was non-existent.
Your best players.
Lost because you couldn't score on the power play.
Yeah, your best players didn't play their best, and that really was the difference in the series. The Islanders' top players played great, and the Flyers' top players didn't play great. They got some help from some unexpected sources. I mean, that guy Lawton is very, very good. You got a lot of help from him. But again, Giroux not good. JVR not good. Kevin Hayes played well. I thought he had a pretty good playoff as well.
He did.
You fell a little short, but you know what? This is one thing that you have to remember. Again, it's the first time. Okay, you tell me what team walked into the Stanley Cup players with that many players who haven't been in the playoffs and won the Stanley Cup. I'll wait 2 hours for somebody to tell me who did that. Okay, and I guarantee you won't come up with anybody. because it never happens that way. Everybody has to pay their dues, but you know what? You pay your dues. Watch out next year, because you know what? I think you guys are going to be a royal pain in the ass next year. I wish my team was as close to the cup as you guys were. I still got 2 years to go, guys. My team's not going to win the cup next year. I'm just trying to get to the playoffs next year. You guys are looking for a parade on Broadway next year. You might just not Broadway. I'm sorry, Broad Street. My bad.
Yeah.
You guys might just get it though. You might just get it. You're really close.
Freaking New York guys.
We all hate the Islanders. Okay, you guys hate them. We hate them. We hate them. We're Ranger fans. We hate the Islanders too.
Why do you hate that? Why do you hate them so much?
Because
the beef there.
Because they're the ones that started the 1940 shit back in the 80s and 90s. Okay. They used to chant 1940 at us because we went a long time without winning the cup, and they started it, and then the rest of the league caught on. But it was and all the Islander fans were basically back then ex-Ranger fans who jumped on the bandwagon with the Islanders. So, and those Long Island people are impossible.
Greg Milakovic, he's on shows all the time. What's up, fellas? Agree with the poll. It sucks to say and think about now because I'm still bummed about the ending. But yes, overall it was a successful year. We have our goalie. That's the biggest success of them all. Yes, the Flyers for the first time since Ron Hextall have a goalie, and he's
they're built the right way, guys. They're built the right way. The way to build a hockey team is you get your goalie and your defense first. Then you go and you get your forwards. That's how you build it. You build it inside out, not outside in. Okay? And you guys have a great goalie. You got real good defensemen. You got some really good young forwards on your team. You just need one more. You just need that one really big guy. As I said, if Winnipeg seriously is going to trade Line, you guys, your GM should be running to Winnipeg and banging on that door until somebody answers it, because that's the guy right there. I mean, that's a right wing. You put him with Couturier. Oh my God, that would. I mean, I hate to say it because as a Ranger fan, that would make me want to throw up. But that would be, you guys would be almost impossible to beat with a guy like that on your team.
Jason Bennett, I think we got memorized by getting the 1 seed, beating Boston and Tampa in the round robin. You might be right about that, but that doesn't excuse that you were in Game 7 and nobody showed up. They're not getting a pass for that, even though they had a successful season. They're not.
I got to
getting a pass. And I saw someone.
You got to give Couturier a lot of credit for showing up. He played with a sprained knee ligament, Game 7. I mean, that guy's a stud. I mean, who the heck? Only hockey players do that. Let's be honest, okay? They're the only guys that do stuff like that, and you got to give him a lot of credit for going out there and giving it his all. I thought Provorov played pretty well that game too. It just wasn't meant to be. And you know what? A lot of it was that I don't think they did a real good job clearing the front of the net in Game 7 either. For most of the series, I thought they
didn't do anything good in Game 7. No,
because you could see on two of the goals, Carter Hart was screened and never saw the puck. You know, on the first one when Mayfield came down the right wing, there were guys in front of him, and because he couldn't really see that well, he screwed up his angle, and Mayfield caught the long side. And then on the second one, he never even saw the pass go across the ice from Brassard to the other defenseman who scored. I can't remember who it was now. Whoever it was, there was a left-handed defenseman who scored that goal. Brassard made that incredible pass. Hart never even saw the pass. He just saw Brassard and assumed he was going to shoot because he couldn't see in front of the net. So the Flyers do have to make sure in situations like that they clear the front of the net. They're usually pretty good at that, and I'm sure Vigneault will go over that with them, next season, and they'll be a little bit better for that. And know what it takes, and know the fact that when you're in the playoffs, you're going to be playing all kinds of different teams. You're going to be playing good offensive teams. You're going to be playing good defensive teams, and you got to have a team that can basically handle anything. And they're pretty close to that right now.
Ricky215 checks in on the tube. Flyers need a top 4 defenseman and a legit sniper on the top line. I think we touched on both of those, and I like adding a defenseman. I like Niskanen, but he's older. I like Sanheim and Myers. I'm not a ghost guy. Never really have been a ghost guy. And obviously Provorov's a stud. So
I think Ghost is just too small. I need
Sanheim and Myers to continue to get better, and I guess I need someone. I need to start thinking about life after Matt Niskanen because
Sal Cheech, you're right. As I said before, Line A is the guy. He's, for whatever reason, whatever Winnipeg.
He's a forward.
Yeah, well, he's your sniper.
Right.
But he was
defense too. I think they need a defenseman too. I think Ricky 215 hit it.
Yeah, right, a defenseman who can quarterback the power play. That's kind of what they need.
Brian Wilson checks in. He thinks the season was a success. Tom Arnone, they need a 40 goal scorer. Absolutely, that's the biggest concern.
That's exactly
the biggest concern.
That's what you need. That's what you need. Okay, you get that, and just make yourselves a little bit more difficult to play against. Then that's listen. If you guys got Max Domi, and I'm not totally in love with him, but if you got a guy like him, and I keep hearing he's on the market as well, he can score some goals. He can score 20, 25 goals, and he could probably be a pest in the playoffs. He's not a bad player, and he kind of has that mean sandpaper type of feel to him. Maybe he might be the guy, but he's not a pure goal scorer like Line A. He'd be the guy I'd be trying to get.
Voracek or Ghost is going to Seattle in the expansion draft. JVR is getting traded for picks. Salary dump.
I don't think that's going to happen, guys. The problem.
I don't know who's going to go. Obviously, Seattle's going to get.
You got a flat salary cap. I mean, I don't think you're going to be able to do salary dumps with that many teams. To be honest with you, maybe Seattle will do something like that. But if you do that, if you're trying to dump Van Riemsdyk and he's making a lot of money, you're probably going to have to attach a draft pick to him for them to take that. I'm just telling you because
that's fine. I don't see much.
Yeah, that's usually what it takes to get rid of a guy who's making too much money.
Yeah, give me anyone. I didn't see anything out of JVR. Not only in the playoff, not really anything for the season. This guy was a big free agent supposedly, and he didn't do much. Drew's the same way. JVR, he was okay. I do like Voracek. He seems Alain Vigneault seems to get the best out of Voracek. I don't know what the other coaches were doing with him before Alain Vigneault got to town, but Voracek seemed re-energized this season. I thought he had a pretty good season, and I thought he had a pretty good playoff. So I'm going to keep Voracek and see what I can get out of him, even though he makes a lot of money.
Well, it'd be very hard to get rid of him right now.
See, look, here's Joseph Horofsky, and I don't agree with him at all. Drew played great in the playoffs. He was on the ice for the majority of the goals scored in the playoff. He's a leader in the locker room, and he's a good passer and great at faceoff. You can't base performance on goals scored only. Drew did not play great in the playoffs.
I listen. I respect everything about Giroux, but listen, Claude Giroux is paid to put points on the board, and he did not. I mean, it's kind of like, guys, as a Ranger fan, I'm sure you remember Rick Nash. Okay?
Yes.
Rick Nash always played great in the playoffs, except that he never scored goals. So you know what? You're not going to tell me Rick Nash was a great player in the playoffs, okay? He was the main reason why the Rangers couldn't get over the top. He scored 42 goals in the season with the Rangers and scored 2 goals in the 2013-14 playoff run, and they didn't win the Stanley Cup because he couldn't score a goal against the damn Kings. That's simple. And you know what? The same thing applies with Giroux. Yeah, he does all the right things. He comes back defensively. He makes a lot of nice passes. He clears his zone well, but he has to score. That's what your number one center has to do in the NHL. Or if you're playing on the first line, You have to score. That's what you're getting paid to do. He's not getting paid to be a checker. Okay? He's not paid to be a good plus-minus player. He's paid to put the puck in the net. And that's end of story.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And I said we got to hold him accountable. We can't let Game 7 slide. So I'm taking the C off Giroux. I'm putting on Couturier in training camp next year. That's my – if Giroux wants the captaincy back, he wants that little C stitch back on his jersey, then he's got to play a little better in next year's playoffs.
Absolutely. And he'll get – look.
I don't even care about regular season hockey next year.
Yeah, he'll get his chance. And you know what?
Season starts in the playoffs. I don't care what Giroux does in the regular season.
Rob,
in the playoffs. I can't see what I saw from Giroux again.
Now you get it when you have a good team, okay? The regular season is nice and dandy, okay, but it's not what you do in the regular season once you're a real good team. It's what you do in the playoffs. And if you play well in the playoffs, that's what everybody remembers. You know, I mean, it's that
Brian Brown. Look up his stats for the last 27 games. He hasn't produced. Yeah, his last 27 playoff games, Claude Giroux has not produced.
If you remember the last time the Flyers got pretty far in the playoffs, I believe it was against the Rangers when they lost in 7, I think in 13-14. Okay? Giroux didn't do anything against the Rangers in that series. You know, it wasn't him. It wasn't him out. Voracek was killing them, but Giroux didn't do anything that series. And it just seems like if he's the focal point, he can be stopped. They need another guy to be the focal point. And if Giroux is the second on the second line, then I think he's going to do a lot better. But if he's the main guy, it just seems like the other team's top checkers can stop him. And that's the problem right now. You need that one guy. Just that one guy to put you over the top. And you know what? That's a very enviable position to be in, fellas and ladies.
Then we got Sal Cheech. Giroux is toasted. Sal Cheech, how long can you go into each season with the same core and get the same results? Look, it's a new core, Sal. It's a young core. I know Giroux and Voracek.
It's not really the same core. He's talking about Giroux and Voracek as being the core, and right now they're
not the core anymore.
But you can't. But right now they're almost untradeable. Right now because of the COVID thing. Okay, you have a flat cap now, which means.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Well, it means you can't get a player and go over the cap by getting a player. You have to be able to fit him into the cap. It used to be in the NHL. They had a cap where in the summer you could be like 10 to 20% over the cap as long as you got to the cap by the beginning of the season.
Gotcha.
Okay, now you can't go over it at all. So I mean, it's like the NFL. If you go over the cap, you have to cut someone. That's kind of where the NHL is going, and the NHL is not raising the cap because of all the revenue they lost last year with the home games. You know, and the playoff revenue with the fans not being in the seats. That's why they have a flat cap. It's not going to be forever, but it's going to be for this offseason. And who knows? It might be for next offseason too. Hopefully, it doesn't get to that point. You know,
Rob Povia posts on the Hockey Happy Hour every Thursday here on A2D Radio. It's also a huge part of our live reaction post-game shows throughout the Flyers playoffs. Great bipartisan talk from Brad for sure. Give this man some love, people enjoying the show. There you go. You get some he thinks Lafreniere is going to be really get you guys a lot closer. His offense is legit. Joseph, our Flyers were outplayed in 9 of the 13 games in the playoffs. Canadians and Islanders suffocated us in our own zone. I just hope fixable in the 2-month off season. Yeah, they're gonna regroup, Joe. They're gonna recruit.
Don wants to know from me, would I be upset if the Islanders won the cup? Let me tell you something, okay? I would be literally having to take Pepto-Bismol nonstop if the Islanders win the Stanley Cup because, listen, in my book, okay, as a Ranger fan, Potvin sucks. He always sucks, and the Islanders suck. Screw the Islanders. But you know what? It is what it is, guys. Can't they're there. As far as I was concerned, watching that series, don't take it personally, but it was kind of like it was kind of like if you're a Yankee fan watching the Red Sox and the Mets in the World Series. It's like, yeah. But I'll tell you what. The one thing that you can do as a hockey fan is you can be very honest and very reasonable and not get emotional about the series and watch it as a true fan. That's the one thing you can do. And that's kind of what happened when I watched that Met Red Sox series. But anyway, I guess congratulations to the Islanders, but I have a feeling that it ends for them next round. I just think Tampa Bay got over the hump by winning that 5 overtime game against the Blue Jackets, and they move on, and they're not going to lose. I just have that feeling.
Giroux will never be stripped of the C. I will bet my paycheck on it. That's from Joe Horovsky. Look, I need some blood. I need some blood on somebody's hands. Like, I'm pretty bummed out. I'm angry. I'm irritated they lost Game 7 like that. I'm taking the C off.
You know what, though? Here's the thing. If you
Drew hasn't produced in the playoffs in his last 27 games, as our viewer Brian Brown commented.
With
captain
with
produced in the playoffs.
With the coach you have, I don't know if he's going to do that. Now, if you had Tortorella as your coach,
he's probably not. He's probably not. Like, I know that's not going to happen, and Giroux's going to be here next year, which I think he should be, and he's going to have the C on his chest. And he's going to have the C on his chest every year he's a Flyer until he retires or gets traded.
That might happen because he is a leader in the locker room, and that's usually why they make guys the captain.
And like, he's supposed to be the captain. I didn't see any leadership. I didn't see any leadership qualities out of Giroux.
Well, I'll tell you what I did see out of Giroux, though. You know what? I saw accountability out of him because you know what? He never ran away from the media after these games.
Great.
He was by his locker. He took it like a man. He admitted, that he wasn't playing well. I mean, that I think you have to respect. You have to respect that. And
whatever.
I get it. I get it. With he didn't play, and he didn't. And you know what?
Yeah, that gives me no solace that Claude Giroux answered the media's questions.
If you guys wanted to make Couturier the coach, I wouldn't have. I'm not the coach. I'm sorry, the captain. I think that's a good move. I think he is the leader of your team right now, and I don't think it would be a bad thing at all to have him be the captain. I mean, Giroux has 2 years left in his contract, I believe.
Yeah,
so he's done at 34. So Couturier is the future leader of this team. He's going to be there. He's going to be there as long as the Flyers want him to be there, and I think he is definitely the future captain of your team. And as I said, you need and if you don't mind me saying, because he was one of our guests, you need a Brian Propp out there. That's the guy in his prime. That's the guy you need, a player like him, to go out there, and then you'll win your Stanley Cup. Because
G and Couturier both have 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years left, and maybe
Kevin Hayes is the next captain. I mean, sorry, Jim, I don't see that one. I don't see that flying. A guy.
You guys will see with Kevin Hayes. Trust me. Kevin Hayes is great for you this year. I get it, okay? But you guys are going to get very frustrated with him over the next couple of years because he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that when he's great, he's great. But you know what? When he was with the Rangers, he took a lot of time. He took a lot of plays off. He took a lot of shifts off. When he got mad, he used to play great. And Vigneault knew how to kick him in the ass to get him going. But I mean, he's.
You don't like Kevin Hayes,
huh?
You don't like Kevin Hayes at all, do you?
I just, what? He was too Chris Kreider-ish for me, and I've said it a million times about Chris Kreider. I love Chris Kreider, except he takes games off and he takes shifts off, and it just used to drive me nuts. And Hayes used to do the same thing. Hayes was the guy that was on the ice 2 or 3 times once in his last season for the Rangers when they scored a goal and he was offside because he was just, instead of straddling on the blue line, he was inside the blue line because he wasn't paying goddamn attention to the game. And that's really, if you want to be honest, that to me I think that's why they chose him over Kreider to trade, because they could have traded Kreider too, because his contract was up the following season, and they would have gotten a lot more for Kreider than they did for Hayes, because Kreider had a year to go plus that season. But I think that was a lot of it. That had a lot to do with it with him. You can't be offside with goals and just look down and see where the blue line is, dude. That's why I had such a negative attitude about Hayes, guys. It's not. I love
he was offsides a couple times.
Huh?
Because he was offsides a couple times. Did you just bury him?
He did it 3. He did it 3 times in one game. He did it against the Maple Leafs.
You even have the game circle.
Oh, I remember this game because the Rangers pulled the goalie. They were down a goal, and there was 3 minutes to go. They pulled the goalie, and they scored. And Kevin Hayes was offside. And it wasn't like Kevin Hayes was running across the blue line trying to get into the zone and beat somebody. He was just standing there, and he wasn't paying attention to where he was standing. And that blew my mind. And that made me nuts. And he did it against the Capitals as well. And you know what? I remember the other game. It was a game. It was a division game. It was either the Devils or the Penguins where he was offside, and it was the same thing. He's standing at the blue line, and both the skates are in, and it wasn't like he was running across trying to beat somebody to get a pass. He wasn't paying attention. AV's got him focused, and if AV keeps him focused, you guys got yourself a great player, because when he has the puck, he's impossible to get off the puck, and he can go to the net, and he's got a wicked shot. And I will tell you right now, he does. He has all that.
Well, there are games going on. We'll segue into some big picture NHL talk, and then we'll get into some Eagles Giants Week 1 NFL stuff. So there's 2 series. Obviously, the Stars and the Knights. They played Saturday. Stars get them. They're up 1-0. The Knights are better though, aren't they?
The way Dallas is playing, and the fact that they were able to find a way to beat Colorado, and the fact that the Knights had so much trouble with Vancouver, I would have to go with Dallas in this series. Dallas is a really good defensive team. Khudobin had one bad game in that series against Colorado, but you know what? They beat Colorado, and I know Colorado didn't have who the hell's the name of their goalie now? Grubauer. They didn't have Grubauer. I get that. They lost him in game 1. He got hurt. So they went against their second goalie, and Colorado's goaltending situation drops off a lot. Okay, but listen, we're not talking about the Knicks. Okay, Joseph, we're not talking about the Knicks. Okay, unfortunately, Knicks fans are like sheep. They keep going to the Garden and get slaughtered. That's the problem.
People show up for the Knicks, though.
Huh?
People still show up for the Knicks, though.
People sell out every game. That's the problem. Okay,
right.
If they didn't show up, it would put a little pressure on Dolan to do something. The reason the Rangers have been pretty good all these years, and even now that they're rebuilding, the reason that they've been able to have a successful rebuild is because he stays away from the whole hockey operation. He lets the hockey guys run their operation. He gets too involved with the Knicks, and that's why the Knicks stink. And they also have bad luck with their lottery too. I mean, they've never gotten higher than the third pick all these years, so that's bad luck too.
So what about the East? The Islanders and the Lightning, they're gonna get going here. Probably already started, honestly. I'm not betting against the Islanders at all. I'm picking the Islanders to win this series. I'm picking to win the whole thing.
How many games? Just for fun.
I don't know. 6 games?
Okay, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay in 6. We'll see. As you know, I've been going with Tampa Bay since you know me, Rob. So
yes, you have.
So I mean, it's. I honestly do think that this year is it for Tampa Bay as an elite team. They're old now. They're getting old. I mean, you look at their defense, guys like Bogosian and McDonough. I mean, these are not young players. They still have Victor Hedman is in his prime, but some of these other guys, Shattenkirk is old too. Is gotten old too. I mean, their defense is old. I just don't know that they're going to be able to stay elite very much longer. You know, they're not a young team. I think this might be their last hurrah as far as winning the cup. And it says Tampa Bay up 2-1. Okay, well, I didn't know that because I have the Yankee game on. So I wouldn't.
All right, let's segue into some football, Brad.
Okay.
It's week 1 of the NFL.
And if you weren't with us, by the way, guys, unfortunately, Freddie Solomon had a family emergency. He's not able to be on tonight, but I'm pretty sure he'll be able to come on next week. And we do apologize for that. We weren't trying to pull a fast one. Swear on my life.
We'll reschedule.
But Freddie's a good guy.
Byron Williams. Byron Williams is coming on.
Yeah, Byron Williams will be on.
We're talking about the Giants, their team, their season, their game against the Steelers.
Philadelphia guys, don't be turning it off just because I got Byron Williams on.
We'll go to the New York guys. We got sports fans.
We try.
You're talking about sports. People are going to come watch.
Okay, good. Because I don't want you guys to turn us off.
Oh, they know it going in. They know you're a New York guy. I'm a Philly guy. We're not going to ram Philadelphia sports down your throat. We talk a great deal of Philly sports, but
I have no problem talking about
the big picture here. There's other teams and cities besides the ones that play here in Philadelphia.
Well, you guys are going to have to play Pittsburgh too, so maybe you might want to find out what he thinks.
It's not the easiest opener.
No, that's a tough one. But you guys, let's talk about the Eagles opener against the Washington Redskins.
Play the Washington Redskins Sunday.
And I think there's going to be a little pressure on the Eagles in this game because this is.
I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure on the Eagles.
This is a game they're expected to win, and you know, as a realistic person, I can see 30-17 Eagles. I think it's going to be something like that.
I think the Eagles are going to score 30 points.
Yeah, I do because you know what. The Redskins are one of those teams last year, and I know I'm going by last year, and I understand that they got that Chase guy from Chase, whatever his name is.
Chase Young, yeah, he's good.
I know he's good, and I know they got him from Ohio State. But you know what? The bottom line is the Eagles have too much speed at wide receiver for that secondary to handle, and I think I think at this point, I think that the Eagles are going to be able to score a lot of points. I think the Redskins will score their points too, but I think what's going to end up happening is the Eagles will adjust to their offense and be able to stop them in the second half. And I don't think that the Redskins are going to be able to adjust to the Eagles. And I see the Eagles being able to move the ball and move it well and score a lot of points. I think the Redskins may score some points in the first half, but I think that's where it ends. I think the Eagles will be a little tight in the first half. And then they'll relax in the second half and mow them down like they always do on opening day.
I mean, I don't think we could disagree more on how the game's going to play out. I look at this offense, and mainly because of the offensive line, I'm concerned. I'm very confident in my defense. I'm very confident my defense is going to play really well. I think they're going to hold the Washington football team to less than 21 points. I think the Eagles won't give up more than 21 points. They're going to keep them under 3 touchdowns. I think that's a great recipe for success in today's NFL. Look, Dwayne Haskins doesn't scare me. Antonio Gibson as your starting running back doesn't scare me. Terry McLaurin doesn't scare me when I have Darius Slay. I don't even know who their tight end is.
Beats the hell out of me, and I mean, listen, Washington. I think Washington will score some points just because everybody in the NFL scores points. I mean, it is what it is. You know, Washington will keep throwing the ball deep and trying to score, and they'll eventually get some points. But I think the Eagles are going to control the ball. I think Sanders is going to get a lot of yardage running the ball. I think he's going to get a lot of yardage passing the ball. If the Redskins are able to get a lot of pressure on him, is a good receiver. He'll get a lot of screen passes. He'll get a lot of yards. I think the key for the Redskins to keep this game close is to try to keep Miles Sanders under control because he's the one that's going to really hurt them.
I just look at their front with Chase Young and Kerrigan, and I look at an offensive line for the Eagles that I'm not really that confident in. And
Yeah, listen, they're untested, but it doesn't mean they're not good.
I understand that. Well, they're going to get tested right off the bat. Division game on the road against a great front. So they're going to get tested.
You still have Lane Johnson, Rob.
They do.
And you still have Jason Peters. I mean, it's not like you got a sieve for an offensive line.
Yeah, and Peters finally stepped up and said that he's going to play left tackle, and they're going to, I guess, work something out in terms of his contract because he was signed to play right guard.
Joseph Herdowski mentioned Vernon Davis. Okay, but Vernon Davis is really old, guys. I mean, I remember that play too that you're talking about, and that should never have happened. that play should never have happened. But as I said, 30-17 Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to get a lot of field goals because that's just what they do. They drive down the field and then they screw up at the end and end up settling for 3. But they're also going to get some points with their defense. I think their defense is going to force turnovers. I'm not crazy about Haskins at all. He's not really a mobile quarterback. He's kind of a sitting duck back there, or at least he was when he was with Ohio State. So, and I think
he's not a mobile guy.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say if things have changed, then okay, I get it. But I've never seen him as a mobile quarterback, and I just have a feeling that the Eagles are gonna really, really hit him. They're gonna force some turnovers. They're gonna get some interceptions. They're gonna have great field position. I think they're gonna take advantage and they're gonna score a lot of points. Yeah, I think that's the thing, and I don't see the Eagles turning the ball over against that Redskin defense.
No. Well, Carson better not turn the ball over.
Nah, I don't see that.
Better not turn the ball over because I don't want to do the show Monday. I have a bunch of idiots, a bunch of jabrones in the chat telling me Jalen Hurts should be in there over Carson Wentz.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen. First successful gadget play, Jalen Hurts runs well. There's going to be tell him to put him in over Carson.
Oh boy! You know what? You guys sound like Giant fans now. The first time Daniel Jones screws up and Colt McCoy comes in and throws a touchdown pass, they're going to be screaming that they want him as the quarterback. No, stop. Wentz is the quarterback, and Wentz is really, really good. You know, and honestly, even though I picked Seattle last year to beat the Eagles in that playoff game, I was kind of doing that to piss you guys off.
Yeah.
In my heart of hearts, if Wentz played that game and he played the whole game, I think Seattle would have lost the game. You know, I mean,
right?
You had a 41-year-old quarterback playing with a torn hamstring, for God's sakes. I mean, come on, Seattle should win that game.
Joseph Farowski might be in the minority, but I prefer JP at right guard. I like the idea of Kelsey, JP, Lane Johnson on that right side. You're definitely in the minority when it comes to my opinion because you can't have a swinging door like Matt Pryor or Corey Glenn or whatever his name is that's supposed to be the answer at left tackle I've never even heard of in my life, protecting my franchise quarterback's blind side. Like, albeit Jason Peters is probably going to get nicked up and he's probably not going to finish many games. But when he's out there, he was great last year. So,
yeah, you'll probably see
a solid left tackle. You can figure out right guard. You can't figure out left tackle on the fly.
Rob, I think what you're going to see a lot with Jason Peters is you may not see him on first down plays, but you'll see him on third down plays when they have to get the first down. You'll see him out there then. You might see him out for second.
They don't have anyone else to put in.
Yeah, well, I mean, but listen, Doug knows what he's doing, and he'll make sure that he doesn't wear him out every week. I think you can be pretty confident in that. I think what you're going to see is a lot of Miles Sanders this week.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, that's going to
be your best offensive player. Very promising rookie season. I just hope Doug doesn't abandon the run like he does. Doug gets a little pass happy sometimes. Hopefully, he's got Deuce in his ear. Whoever the offensive coordinator is, which we don't really have one right now, in his ear to use Miles running the football.
He's got better receivers than he's had recently, though. That you gotta That you got to admit. He's got way better receivers now.
I guess. I mean, they're fast.
They are fit. They are
I
fast.
like that they're a bunch of young guys who didn't really have, this is their first time playing. They had they just had inter squad scrimmages. Like, I don't think that prepares.
I understand that, but listen,
As good as it should, as good as a regular preseason.
Rob, you never, with these fast guys, you never know what you're going to get. Look at Slayton last year with the Giants. Who would have expected? Who knew? I mean, sometimes guys just jump out and have a good year.
Yeah, they need that.
That could happen. Sometimes you got to trust some. Sometimes you got to trust some of the guys how he gets. I mean, he doesn't always get bad players. Sometimes he makes mistakes, like every general manager.
How he stinks.
Listen, he isn't very good. He isn't very good at selecting cornerbacks. Let's put it that way. He seems to have a little issue there.
He's not that great at selecting anything. He's a cap nerd who picks our players, which is a joke.
Well, you know what though? You've still been a winning team. You won a Super Bowl. You won the division last year. We'll see what happens. But you know what? I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a bit of a. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see this team maybe fight it for a little bit at the beginning, but I think they're going to get better as the season goes on because Carson's going to get used to these new receivers. But as long as they don't forget that they have Miles Sanders and they give him the ball, and if they're having problems with the fact that there might be a big pass rush, you dump the ball off to them on some screen passes to slow some of these guys down. I think they're going to be fine. You're going to get Rager back by what week? One of the guys.
Week 2, week 3.
Yeah, you'll get him back. You'll get him back soon enough, and you are going to eventually get Jeffrey back as well. I think the Eagles are going to be fine. Listen, it's not like you're playing in the NFC West, okay? You're not. You're not playing in the NFC West. You're not playing in the AFC North. Okay? You're playing in the NFC East. The Giants and the Redskins are not good teams right now. Let's give them not the Redskins, the football team aren't really good right now. They haven't proven anything. So until they prove something, I'm going to assume that they're both going to stink. Their competition is going to be Dallas. And you know what? You're going to be playing the same tough teams they are. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that the Eagles are going to win the East. I do. I think they're
going to. I think they're going to be 10-6.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys have had a couple of tough injuries and a couple of guys opted out for the COVID thing. So I mean, they're not going to be totally at full strength either. Well, let's get on the football field and decide this. I mean, the Cowboys are not the best team in the NFL. It's not like you have to worry about having to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, you're dealing with the Cowboys, who are nowhere near the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mike Parker's checking in. I'm not really on the Miles bandwagon yet. His rookie stats are inflated because of the lack of depth at receiver, so they used him a lot, and they needed to develop him. We shall see. But I think Miles Sanders is a really good player.
Yeah, if you have a big cannon,
really good player.
You play. Listen, you give the ball to your best players. Your best players should be touching the ball. That means Ertz should be getting the ball a lot, and that means Miles Sanders should be getting the ball a lot. That's simple. What if one of the receivers earn some pass attempts to them? Then all the better.
Bobby Eagles, he expects to see a lot of 2 tight end packages to help out the line in week 1. It's not a bad idea, but I mean, Ertz is not really a blocker. Goddard can block. So maybe you keep him in for some protection purposes, but I need Ertz. I need Ertz running routes. I need Ertz.
Ertz needs to make catches.
That's my QB's guy.
Yeah, Ertz needs to go out there and make some catches. You need to have your tight end. My team, we need to make sure that Evan Ingram is out there and healthy and productive. You guys need to have Ertz out there productive and have a real good season.
Sanders faster than anyone than they expected, and a better receiver. than anyone expected, and a good kickoff return man, too. He was second-round steal. That's from Gator Country. Brian Brown agrees that people are going to be calling for Hurts. Yeah, for whatever reason, as good as Carson is, he doesn't really get the respect he deserves from this fan base. He's a really good quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback probably in the whole league, and I don't understand why people, are hating on him all the time. I hope to God, 2 things need to happen for the Eagles to win this division. They got to be a top 10 defense, which I think they're capable of doing. I love their secondary. I love their front. We'll see if a linebacker can step up. But I think this team has a top 10 defense. I really do, based on their moves in the secondary, which was not good last year. The secondary was not good last year. And they need Carson Wentz to be an MVP candidate. So, I can't really deal with idiots who think Nick Foles is better than Carson Wentz, or Carson Wentz can't hack in this league because he's injury prone, or people who think that Jalen Hurts should go in the game if he does a few good plays over Carson Wentz. I can't deal with that. I need my quarterback to be the captain. I need him to be the leader. I need him to be the anti-Claude Giroux this season. I need him to step up. I need him to be a top 5 MVP candidate, and I need my defense to be top 10. I think if one of those 2 things happen, I think they win the division. If both of them happen,
I think they have by far the best defense in the division, and you can make the argument they probably have the second best offense in the division right now. But
I think you got to give best offense to Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? As we all know, defense wins championships.
Joseph Farowski, well, I thought maybe Howie could be competent enough to pick up a guy like Shalif or whatever his name is. Yeah, Riley Sharif, I think his name is, from the Vikings. Yeah, Howie's just not competent at this stuff. He's just not a good player personnel guy. He stinks at it. The proof's in the pudding. He can sit in an office and crunch numbers and do other stuff for you that he's really good at, but he's not a player personnel guy. It's time to cut the shit within this organization's player personnel department. I'm sick of watching an accountant run my football team, in essence. It can't go on like this. He can't do it. He's not good at it. Let him do what he's good at. He ain't good at picking players. Peters will have a lot of penalties called on him, too. You watch. I mean, hopefully not. Gator Country, he thinks Boston Scott's legit. I have my questions about Boston Scott.
He looked good last year, but, let's see how he does over a whole season.
Yeah.
And now that there's film on him, everybody's going to know who he is. So it's not like he's, going to fall between the cracks.
Joseph Rogers, Quez Watkins is hurt too. I didn't read that, but doesn't surprise me. Everyone else gets hurt. Wide receiver 1 is Deshaun Jackson. Wide receiver 2 is Ward. Yeah, and Joe, you need J.J. Arcega-Whiteside to step up. This guy's a second-round pick. Second-round picks, they got to play right away.
He has to at least get 2 or 3 catches a game. I mean, he's got to at least do that. He can't have 20 catches for the season. That just, you can't do that. He's got to be a solid contributor.
A second-round pick entering year 2? I need 40, 50 catches from you so I can at least feel somewhat make a severe mistake in the second round.
Yeah, you got to get 2 to 3 catches. You got to make sure you're getting 2 to 3 catches a game.
That's around 50 catches, right? 40 catches.
Yeah. That's between.
All I hear is how much of a red zone threat he is in practice. I don't care about practice. Go be a red zone threat in the game. Give me 45 catches. Give me 5 touchdowns so I can at least feel good about you. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Listen, you get 45 catches and 5 touchdown passes from him. That would be a very solid season for him.
Is that unrealistic for me to expect out of a former second-round pick?
No, that's fair.
And then, John Hightower, Quez Watkins. Yeah, I don't know what these guys are going to do. I don't know how good Greg Ward's going to be over a 16-game season.
Well, again, you'll find out.
I don't think this team really has a slot receiver I can rely on.
Listen, you never know with these receivers, Rob. Sometimes, these guys, you talk them up and you expect them to be great and they stink. And then the guys who you least expect to be good. Look at the Giants with Victor Cruz. Victor Cruz went to BU.
Yeah. Brian Brown. Here's the question for both of you. Will there be Brian Brown, there's going to be a full football season. There's too much money.
Yeah, I think there will be.
Out if they try and cancel it. Like, it's not going to happen. They're playing. They might have to play. They might have to sign me to play. They might have to sign Brad to play. They're playing 16 NFL regular season games. And
they may have to extend. Listen, they may have to extend the season by a week or two. That could happen too. But they're going to get the 16 games in. Okay, there's way too much money on the line, and the fact that the fans aren't going to be in there, that they're going to end up playing the games, because as long as they play the games, the DirecTV package is going to be up. Everybody's going to be watching them on TV, and they'll make their money that way. But they're going to lose some revenue with the fans not being there. So you can be sure they're going to play those 16 games.
Well, Eagles owner, he's only committed to not having Eagles fans in the Eagles State games for September. That's always committed to.
I think that.
And Jerry Jones is down there in Texas running his mouth. It sounds like he wants to have fans at the games tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they're not going to let him do that. Listen. You may have it for November and December, maybe, or maybe they'll allow like a certain percentage of people to go to the games. They're not going to allow 100,000 people in a stadium. That's not going to happen at all.
Well, the Colts announced that they're bringing like a select few people to the games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You may get maybe 20 people to a section. They'll get maybe a third. They'll allow like a third of the people in, but they'll probably have to wait till like November to do that. I could see that. I could see that happening.
Joseph Orosky, no one has repeated in the East in 12 years. I think the Cowboys will win the division. They still have a great O-line. They dominate time of possession on offense. It can mask their inept defense. Okay. I think the Eagles are just a little bit better football team than the Dallas Cowboys. A little bit. But
yeah, I agree.
If the Eagles can't get healthy and they have more of these injuries, they're going to have big problems.
Well, again, we'll see who steps up.
Yeah, Ertz is not a bruiser. Gator Country is right about that. He's got great hands. That's why you got to get him out and running routes, catching balls, scoring touchdowns, not blocking, because you pick a quarterback at 53 and you have no depth in your offensive line. Don 19, he can't believe his Lions signed Adrian Peterson. Sounds like he's going to play a lot. A surprise cut from the Washington Redskins. Eagles don't have to worry about Adrian Peterson. Looks like DeAndre goes to the Lions. Looks like DeAndre Swift's banged up. Looks like Kerryon Johnson is a shell of himself after an ACL injury. I think AP is going to play a lot up there in Detroit. Maybe give Matthew Stafford some balance.
Well, if AP doesn't have to run the ball 20, 25 times a game, I think he can be fine. If they can get him to run the ball maybe 10 to 15 times, I think he'll be okay. At his age, though, you can't give him the ball too many times.
He's a freak, though.
I understand that, but at his age, though, you don't want to give him the ball too many times, or he'll be worn out by the middle of the season. You kind of got to treat him like the 5'8" speedster, that comes out of college, that you don't want him to get hit too many times, but you want to get him
right.
Not too many times. If they treat him like that, he'll be fine. But if you're making him run the ball 20 times a game, he'll be dead by the middle of the season.
They're not really a running factory up there in Detroit. They're always losing by a bunch.
Never have been, and they throw the ball too much. And hopefully for them, Stafford can stay healthy.
Brian Brown, how's that going to work with some fans allowed in the stadiums, but places like Philly and New York will have no fans? I mean, this is kind of the nature of the beast of 2020. It sucks because, it's not really up to the owners. It's not really up to the commissioner. It's up to each state's individual government. I guess the authorities in Indianapolis have deemed it okay that if the Colts want to have a select group of fans at, their game, that's acceptable and they're allowed to do that.
Or don't they have an indoor stadium now?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't be going to a game.
You don't have to.
Huh?
People who are going to go are going to choose to be there.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying if I had my choice right now, I mean, if it's an outdoor stadium, and it's like a quarter full or a third full, I might consider. Yeah, I would go. But if they're going to be allowing the majority of people,
no, select group. Colts have a select group of fans.
Well,
I don't know how many fans that is. That's a general term, but
yeah, how select are we talking about, and how many people, and how close are they going to be together? That's, if these football stadiums are built for, say, 60,000 fans, and you have 20,000 people in the building, that might be okay. I mean, you could keep them far enough apart so that everybody's going to be okay. But I mean, if you're going to start with 2/3 full, especially in indoor stadiums, that's a bad idea. I mean, I'd be real careful. I mean,
I'm a big advocate of we can't just shut down life because of this virus. So, I mean, if officials are going to allow it, then I'm all for it. And if you don't want to go to the game because you're scared you're going to get the virus or get sick, get your family sick, then you don't have to go.
I'm just talking to Byron right now to try to get him
All
on.
right, so we'll have him in a few minutes.
Yeah, he just wanted to know if I call in, or I just told him just go on the link and Frank will put you in. So
we'll have him in a few minutes, talk some Giants football. Most theoretically allows for nobody to sit next to anyone, I guess. Bobby Eagles, is everyone in agreement with Mills playing safety? I think he played well in small, tight spaces, tackling, but covering over the top. I'm not sold. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, Bobby Eagles. I don't trust Jalen Mills at safety one bit. The improvements I see to the Eagles secondary that are going to make the difference and make this defense top 10 are Darius Slay, who's an all-pro caliber corner, one of the best in the NFL.
He's huge.
And Bradley Roby-Coleman.
Player.
Yeah, Bradley Roby-Coleman. He comes over from the Los Angeles Rams last year. He's one of the best nickelbacks in the whole league. Tom trusts Jalen at safety. But I will see. I hope he works out. I think he has some skills that will serve him well at safety, but covering over the top way far away from the line of scrimmage isn't one of them. So, I mean.
Yeah, but he was a corner for a long time, though, right?
He was.
Most guys that were corners that become safeties are just the only reason they're safeties is because they're not fast enough to be at the line of scrimmage. That's all. But I mean, if he knows what he's doing, which I'm sure he does, I think he'll be pretty effective as a safety.
But like, is McLeod going to be the cover guy, and Bill's going to play that Jenkins role, like up at the line, tackling and thumping?
I would think that probably would be the case. I mean, it depends. It depends on what kind of defense they're going to play. You know, if they're going to keep two guys in the back, which is what they'll do on passing situations.
Well, you got to think they're going to keep as little linebackers as possible on the field, because that's another position that Howie Roseman and this front office just doesn't.
Well, some teams don't. Some teams
respect.
Some teams in this day and age in the NFL don't think they really need a lot of linebackers. I mean, that's kind of just it. They feel that they want the small, quick guys in the secondary, and they want the big kahunas up front, on the defensive line, and they don't want these big, slow guys playing in the middle of the field. They want speed, and that's listen. If it works for them, great. If it doesn't work for them, then you know what? They're gonna take the heat for that.
I know I'm ready. I'm ready to crush Howie any chance I get. I think
Let's hope for your sake you don't need
a
to
loser.
But let's
Hopefully
hope.
not. But he's going to piss me off. He's already pissed me off. I mean, he's been pissing me off all quarantine with his stupid ass draft picks. So I'm really expecting to change now that the season's underway.
Well, you know what though, you're gonna get your times. You're also gonna get your listen. You're gonna have some plays with Jalen Rose where he's gonna be making some plays too. So you're gonna have
Jalen Mills. You mean
Jalen? No. What am I? Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's gonna be making some play. He's gonna be making some plays for you. I mean, listen. I don't know how many plays he's gonna make, but you know what? I guarantee you he'll make a few nice plays for you. That will help your offense win some games.
Tuesday morning, he makes one play on Sunday, Brad. Jalen Hurts, number 2, Midnight Green. It'll be sold out at every website on God's green earth from Eagles. Mark my words.
Rob,
it's going to be a headache.
If you have the ball on the 2-yard line and it's 3rd and goal, okay? If he brings him into the if Doug brings him in and lets him QB and they have a chance to do a wildcat where he can either run or pass. He's fast enough that he might be able to sneak into the end zone and do some things Carson may not.
And then his jersey will be sold out on Sunday.
I mean that's what Doug is hoping for. So hopefully that situation is going to come to fruition. I mean that's what he's hoping for. Now you can agree or disagree. Obviously, both of us disagree with them doing that, but I can understand there could be some situations where it might work out well for them. And bless my hearts, the Yankees actually are ahead 5-2 in the 6th inning.
There you go.
They scored 5 runs. They didn't score 5 runs the whole weekend in Baltimore.
Joseph Horowski, Kavion Wallace, a safety or an outside linebacker. He's a safety. He was a safety at Clemson. He's actually how he surprised me with that draft pick. It was actually a good draft pick. I think the kid's going to be good. I think the kid's going to be starting sooner rather than later. Whether it's by injury or it's because Mills can't hack it at safety or maybe McLeod can't hack it, I don't know. But I think the kid's going to find his way into the starting lineup.
I think what you're going to see is Doug kind of nurse him, put him into certain spots where he's not going to fail, and kind of just do it that way. And the more the more he sees out of him, it's going to be like a relief pitcher in baseball. First, you put him in for mop-up duty. If he performs, then you trust him maybe with a 4-run lead, and then all of a sudden, if he gets out of that, now all of a sudden you put him in a big spot. Let's see what happens. I mean that's.
Parker wants to know what the purpose of the release and re-signing of Cravon LeBlanc. Educate me. I don't know what happened there.
Money. I guarantee you.
So they cut him and then brought him back.
Right, so that Howie could get a little bit more cap space because he probably has something cooking between now and Sunday. He probably has his eye on somebody, and maybe that's what's going on right now. There might be somebody who captured his fantasy and he cut him and brought him back for a smaller amount of money. I mean, teams do that. So, yeah, we'll see.
Well, 2 players that got cut over the weekend, Brad, a 2nd and 3rd round pick, respectively, Rasul Douglas and Sidney Jones. I couldn't be happier they're out of town. I think they both stink.
You did not like Sidney Jones. I know you didn't stop. You didn't stop talking about.
Guy can't play. Yeah. Guy can't play. They set the kid up for failure. They take him. They overdraft him in the 2nd round after he tears his Achilles a month before the draft. He didn't recover from it well. He didn't play well ever. So, I can't have that out of a 2nd round pick. And then you got another 2nd round pick right behind him in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside that. I don't want to write the kid off completely, but I saw no signs of life from J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I see A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. They're running all over the field. My 2nd round pick can't even get on the field. He can't even run a route. He can't even get off press coverage. And he's a big body, supposed to be a big body, physical guy. So Sidney Jones, good riddance on that. His only claim to fame was he outplayed Ronald Darby at the end of last year to start at cornerback. Cool. Ronald Darby was one of the most gutless losers I've ever seen attempt to play cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles last season. He was awful.
He had a rough year last year.
And for someone to justify me wasting a roster spot on Sidney Jones when that's his only claim to fame, I can't do it. Sorry, Sid. I can't do it. You're a second-round pick. You haven't done anything. I got to move on. And Rasul Douglas just has no skill set. He's not fast enough. He doesn't tackle good enough to play safety. He's got no ball skills. So, I have no time for Rasul Douglas. Third-round pick, second-round pick. See ya. 3 years in. Gone.
Okay. Byron's having some problems logging in, so I got to give
all right.
phone number.
We'll get him on. So you said what? 30-17 Eagles week 1?
Yes.
I'm gonna go 24-20. I really think the Eagles defense steps up, and I think the offense scores just enough. Just enough. I hope it's not that close. I'd rather have a coach job against the Redskins. And by the way, this is a must-win game for the Eagles. I know that sounds like knee-jerk Brinkman talk, but it really is. You need that division win. You need that conference win. And, the next game is against the Rams. I can't be facing the Rams, a team I'm going to be battling with for potentially a wild card. I can't be 0-1 with them coming to town. Got to get that. You got to get that first win out of the way. And it's got to be this against the Washington football team. So 24-20 Eagles. So we're in agreement.
Yeah, Frank, if you could call Byron, I gave you his number. Give him a call because he's having trouble getting in.
He got in last time.
I know. For whatever reason, he's having problems logging in. So I don't know. We may have to do a phone thing like we did with Bob Chandler.
Let's look at some of these other games, Brad, before we start talking about the Giants with Byron.
Okay.
Let me get the lines up here. See if anything jumps out to us. Well, Houston and Kansas City, they're going to kick off the season in Kansas City. The Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite. It's too much.
On opening night?
What's that?
On opening night?
Opening night.
That's a lot of points.
I'm going to take the Texans plus 9.5.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that, too.
I'm in the $1 million.
It's going to take Kansas City a couple of weeks to really get their offense flying. I
do think I'm very confident that Kansas City wins the game.
Yeah, they'll win. They'll win the game. If you
don't like playing that many points.
Yeah, if you play the money line, Kansas City is going to win the game. But 9.5 points is a lot of points, especially opening week with great offenses. Sometimes it takes a week or two, especially when there's no preseason games. Sometimes it takes a week or two for offenses to get on track. So I think we may have Byron here. Oh, Byron, are you here?
We don't have Byron. All right, next game on the slate here for week 1. Chicago visits Detroit. Obviously, the news in Chicago is Mitchell Trubisky is going to start at quarterback over Eagles legend Nick Foles. This doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all that Nick Foles didn't win the job because he's not that good. But, that's kind of embarrassing to lose to Mitchell Trubisky.
Well, it's only week 1, so we'll see about that one.
I would fully expect Nick Foles to get a shot to start there at some point this season. But anyway, Chicago's going to Detroit. Detroit's a 3-point favorite.
Chicago is going to Detroit, a 3-point favorite?
Yeah, Detroit's a home favorite.
I'll take the Bears all day long.
Bears plus 3. Well, the Bears have a great defense, so you think they score just enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? One thing Trubisky can do is run. So they might score enough points I think they'll find a way to score enough points to win. I like the Bears. I'll take the 3 points. I have no faith in Detroit at all.
Cleveland visits Baltimore. This is another one. I think the line's just too much. I'll take Cleveland +8. I think they have an outside chance to pull the upset in this game. I think Cleveland's going to be much better this season. So I'll take the Browns +8. That's one of my more confident selections in Week 1.
That's a lot of points.
Give me the dogs. Give me the dogs in Week 1.
Yeah, I'll take the 8 points too, because you know what? That's too many points.
Another division battle. Green Bay is going to Minnesota. Minnesota, the standard 3-point home favorite.
I like Minnesota. I think Minnesota wins this game going away.
Really? So you have no problem?
Yeah, I think that game has 20-3 written all over it.
You think Aaron Rodgers is only going to put up 3 points on opening day?
Yep. All right, 20. Let's say 20-10.
That would be.
I'll give him a touchdown.
That would surprise me.
Minnesota's defense is going to be unreal this year.
All right, you told me.
Yannick on that team. Okay, Byron's on speaker, guys.
Byron, yeah, are you with us?
Yes, how you guys doing?
How you doing, Byron? Thanks for coming on. We're talking to Byron Williams, former Giants receiver, most famously on the 1985 NFC Championship participating team. Didn't work out for them against the great 85 Bears defense. But, Byron, thanks for coming on. We're just going to talk about some Giants football right now. And what's your vibe on this Giants team as we go in? They're a young, up-and-coming team. They got a new coach. They got a new quarterback. What can NFL fans expect from the Giants this year?
I think they're going to be surprised because they got a good coaching staff. I think they put together a good coaching staff, first of all. And I think they got a good offensive coordinator, which is Jason Garrett, and their defensive coordinator, which is Patrick Graham. So I think they're going to be unpredictable. I think they're going to be in a lot of games. They're going to surprise some people, but they do have a young team.
Now, you mentioned Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. Obviously, he's been the butt of many jokes as Dallas Cowboys head coach. What kind of offense do you think they're going to be running with Jason Garrett? What's he going to do for the young quarterback, Daniel Jones? Because obviously Jason Garrett was a player in this.
Well, I think they're going to probably get the ball out of his hand a little bit quicker, which he'll be able to utilize the tight ends. He got some good tight ends, and the receivers are pretty nifty. So I think they'll be able to get the ball out of Daniel Jones' hands so he can, and have they got the best running back in the NFL, I think.
I agree with that.
So I think they'll be able to be a little bit unpredictable. Last year, I think they was undisciplined as an overall team. I think this year, Coach Joe Judge had got those guys in a different mindset.
Well, he got their attention by cutting John Connolly, that's for sure. He got a lot of attention doing that. Byron, let me ask you a question. How do we beat the Steelers? What is going to be the key to this game?
I think we're going to have to control the ball. I think keeping out the pin hand, of course. And their defense is pretty good, to be honest with you. So I think it's going to be a good physical game. I think it's going to be a lot of mistakes the first 2 or 3 weeks in the NFL anyway. So I think with having a home field advantage, it's going to be a close game. It might be like a 14-10 game.
Well, the Steelers are definitely not as good a road team as they are a home team. So the Giants do catch a bit of a break there. Do you think the Giants can contain the passing game? Because that's where they got burned a lot last year. I mean, how much better is their secondary this year, do you think, than they were last year?
Well, according to the last 3 scrimmages, of course, you can't hardly tell too much about scrimmages, but I think, with James, Bradbury, and Logan and Peppers and all those guys, they got it. The work they've done their homes, they've been playing real good, real tough. I mean, they've been playing physical in the scrimmages. And so right now, I think they're going to be surprised. They're going to be surprised, I think, that, that they'll be able to cover some of those guys. I think they have 10 defensive backs on the active roster, on the 53-man roster. So I think they're gonna come in and mix up a lot of one-on-one and specialize in covering those receivers that the Steelers have.
Byron, you mentioned the receivers earlier. You said that you called them a nifty group. I mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Is there any one you think is going to be a breakout? Because, I look at the receivers and, they don't have an Odell Beckham Jr., obviously. They traded him away. Is there a go-to number one receiver on this Giants team?
Well, the possession down is going to be Golden Tate. And, of course, Sterling Shepard, he can mix it up the inside. But Slayton, he had a phenomenal year last year. CJ Board, he was the surprise of the training camp. Of course, I thought Corey Coleman would go make it, but they released him, and they got this new guy named Daniel. But I think that's going to be key for them, the wide receiver, consistently playing and staying healthy. That's going to be a key. But they'll probably be able to use that tight end. They probably go 2 tight end sets sometime, and I think they, of course, Ingram had a real good training camp.
Ingram's the key to this team. He's got to be on the field.
He had a great training camp. He had a very good training camp. Another thing too, the offensive line, Mark McCumbo, he's a good coach. I think the offensive line is going to improve. That's got to be the number one component of the offense, being consistently going up and down the field with that. You got that young tackle, Andrew Thomas, and I think he was challenged quite a bit with the defense in those scrimmages. But I think as the week goes, he's getting better. He's definitely getting better. He's getting the timing down. So definitely got to get the ball out of Daniel Jones' hand.
Byron, do you think the Giants are going to be able to run the football against the Steelers? Because I think that's going to be one of the keys to the game, is controlling the ball and not exposing their defense to being out there in the field too much.
Yeah, and that's probably where our offensive game plan is going to come in at. Being able to control, but the front four for the Steelers and their linebacker group is real good. Their defense is real stingy. They was in the top 4 or 5 defense of last year. So
their defense came on late. Their defense really came on late. That's concerning to me.
Exactly. So it's still early. It's gonna be a lot of mistakes. This is really everybody's playing on the same timetable for as scrimmages and practice, and they couldn't go real hard against their own teams, but everybody had the same. I think, by the Giants playing at home, hopefully we get a good start of the first half, and I think they can control the game. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of optimistic about the fact that there was no preseason, so I don't think any of these really good teams, especially the ones that have some of the big offenses and the quarterbacks, with the receivers, I think that's an advantage for the Giants, because they have an offensive line now and they have a good running back, and they might be able to actually control some of these early games. Exactly,
and some of the backups are pretty good too. We got Deion Lewis and Wayne Gilman. They had some superb training camp this year, so I think overall, we'll be good. We'll be able to hopefully control the flow on the offensive side, and the defensive linebackers have really improved. So I think that's going to be key.
Yeah, getting Golden back, I thought, was key.
Yeah, exactly. Golden going to be, and plus he's a veteran, so that we need his experience out there.
Yeah, that was pretty important. What would the key be, do you think, for them to win this game? What do they have to do better than the Steelers to win this game?
No turnovers, of course. I think special teams might be a key factor too. Hopefully that's where we'll have the edge on special teams. But we got to score some points. And of course, Barkley got to have a good game. He definitely have to have a good game. By him feeling healthy. I mean, this is going to be a good fast start. I think this home field is going to be a key. I think this is going to be the momentum driver. I think this is the most focused that the Giants has been for us starting the season in a long time with the coaches.
You think these coaches are really on point?
It's the best coaching staff they have had in a long time. I think they probably since Bill Parcells group was there. I think they got an edge. They are very accountable, disciplinarians, and they hold each other accountable. So I think mistakes are going to be a minimum. That's the case, and they'll be in almost every game.
Well, that sounds encouraging.
Yeah, that does sound. I do think that. I mean, we said that Judge was going to be a good coach, both of us, and I like the fit with Garrett as the offensive coordinator as well. He's not a head coach. That doesn't mean he can't be a good coordinator.
No, but Garrett was. I live here in Dallas. That's where I live, and
right.
I've seen coaches in the last 10 years. I go to all the kickoff lunches. I know all the Cowboys, and I have seen Garrett is a good motivator. But I have seen he's a very positive coach, and I think if he don't be so predictable on offense, I think we'll have a good chance of being a very competitive team this year.
Now you live in Dallas. We're up here in Philadelphia, South Jersey, Giant Eagle country. How do you see this NFC East kind of playing? You have the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Washington.
The Washington, whatever they.
Yeah.
I love the NFC East. I mean, every year, I get excited about watching those games, and of course, Doug will have the Eagles ready, and it's gonna be a good year. I just think that the Giants is in that spot, that sweet spot to just follow again, and I think hopefully if we can stay healthy with the receivers and the defensive backs, seem like they be coming around pretty good, but. Those are the key components. Then offensive line, of course. But if Jason can come up with a game plan each and every game that's going to be unique, I think the Giants going to be a surprise team this year, a surprising team for the NFC East.
Can we be a 500 team? Because I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I think we can definitely be an 8-8 team. But Jason Garrett is known for 8-8, but Jason ain't he's not the whole deal. But yeah, that would be so much better. I mean, the Giants fans would be like, "Oh man, we get better." And
after the last 3 seasons, 8-8 would be music to my ears. At least we can have something to build on.
Absolutely. But I'm excited the way Coach Judge came in and took control of everything. He's really helped impress me for us what he have done with the overall strategy of making sure that the mindset of those players and he coached everybody the same. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and it seems like he's one of those coaches that's a disciplinarian and kicks guys in the ass. And I do think that the Giants need a guy like that. I think Shermer was too nice a guy, and I think that was a big problem. I don't think he just had it in him to be nasty enough to get his point across. I think Judge does.
Absolutely. That's all he has shown thus far. I mean, you have to be firm with the players, and the players know what side of the fence they stand on. So far, so good. Just by hearing, the feedback that I've gotten, and I get a weekly report on the Giants. So I mean, being involved with the NFLPA and so forth. So it's definitely a better atmosphere up there in the locker room.
Well, that's really good to hear. That's really good. Byron, I want to thank you for coming on in short notice. We really appreciate you coming on. Anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome to talk some Giant football. And we'll definitely be in touch again with you.
Thanks, Byron.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. And, hey, I'm ready for the football season to get kicked off Thursday night. So let's go NFL.
Absolutely. Week 1 just around the corner. It's Monday night.
Thanks a lot, Byron.
Thank you.
Monday night. We got games on Thursday.
Yes, we do.
Thursday.
Yes, we do. Well, I'll tell you what, that was optimistic. At least I feel like I feel a little bit better about this team now.
Yeah, the Giants are better. The Giants are going to be a thorn in the side of the Cowboys and the Eagles twice this season.
Well,
no more rolling over the Giants anymore.
1-3 would be a major improvement over 0-4 for the last 100 years. That's for sure.
But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Giants beat the Eagles lost to the Giants this year one time.
I'd like to see I'd like to see them beat the Cowboys once too, to be honest with you, because that team just
fuck them.
Yeah, that team just. I mean, if I had my choice, I'd rather if it was beating the Eagles one game or beating the Cowboys, I think I want to beat the Cowboys at least once because they just rub me the wrong way.
I mean, I think they have the tools to be competitive in all 4 of those games. I really do.
I hope so.
And I like Jones.
I am. The thing I'm worried about is their defense. Until further notice, I got to see their defense improve. I think their offense is pretty good. I think they got some guys there. I think they've got some skill players. I'm very optimistic about Slayton.
I don't know about your receivers.
Well, I like Slayton and I like Sterling Shepard.
You need a go-to guy for the kid, I think, for Jones.
Well, Slayton was kind of the go-to guy last year for them. So let's see.
Yeah, I know, but is he going to, like you said about Boston Scott, there's tape on him now, you know?
Well, I know. Well, I mean, let's see. We'll see if he improves. I mean, you know, if he's going to give you 70, 75 catches this year and close to 1,000 yards, I think that would do it for me.
6th-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, for a 5th-round pick, I think we found something in him. I mean, if you remember, Victor Cruz was a unsigned free agent.
Yes,
and he actually was on
the great finds of all time.
Yeah, and he was on the Giants practice squad the first year. He didn't even play. He came to
yeah, we play I play fantasy football. I play a lot of fantasy football.
Yeah, he kind of forced his way onto the team, and you know, sometimes you get these guys. Hopefully that's going to be the case for them. We need Ingram to stay healthy. No question. I mean, we cannot have another season of him playing 3 games and then getting hurt, missing the rest of the season. Just can't. If we're gonna actually give the Eagles and the Cowboys a run for their money, and at least have somebody get a little nervous when they play us, we need him on the field. And you're right about one thing: the Giants receivers they're very thin. If they get any injuries at all, it's going to be a big problem. I mean, a big problem.
All right, let's go through these games, get through the slate, try and talk about the league a little bit. We're in agreement that Minnesota will cover 3 points against the Packers. Indianapolis is going to visit Jacksonville. That spreads up to 8 points.
I think I like Indianapolis to cover that one.
That's a stone stay away game for me because I don't trust the Indianapolis Colts this season even a little bit. I'm not
Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is.
I'm going to take the Jags. I'm going to take the 8.
Yeah, I think it's what
everybody shows up on opening day.
Tanksonville for Jacksonville.
The loss.
They're going to be the worst team in football.
I think you're right about that, but I think they can cover 8 on opening day against a Colts team that I'm not really that impressed with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but Jacksonville is not going to be able to score, and I think the Colts will put up between 21 and 28 points. And you know what? I don't see
that'll be enough.
I don't see Jacksonville getting more than 10 with that offense.
I don't know. I could see like a garbage touchdown late, just ruining the spread for.
That's But if you're asking,
I like dogs, especially early in the season with no preseason. Give me them points.
Yeah, the problem is Jacksonville is the worst team in the league.
Here's a game that I think is kind of a lock, Brad. The Las Vegas Raiders are going to travel across country to Carolina, take on a Panthers team that I don't think is that good for this season's sake. I'm going to lay the 3 points on the road with the Raiders, and I like the Raiders a lot in this game.
The Raiders on the road? Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, I don't think
they're so unreliable. They could win 27-0 for all I know. But they're so unreliable. on the road.
First game is Vegas. You got Gruden. I think the Raiders are going to be able to score some points this year as long as Derek Carr is not a complete idiot. I like Brian Edwards out there for you fantasy guys. I like Hunter Renfrow as a wide receiver sleeper for you fantasy guys out there. Tyrell Williams is a speedster. Josh Jacobs is terrific. I think the Raiders are a lot more talented than the Panthers are at this time.
That I agree with you. The Panthers were really
I don't really know how to, before, if there were fans in the game, I wouldn't know how to handicap a team going across country. I might frown upon that, but there's no fans.
Yeah, no, I
matter?
it's just the Raiders on the road.
I like Vegas in this spot. You like the Panthers, I take it?
No, I guess I would have to go with the Raiders, but I mean, it's just that would not be a game I would be betting on if I was going to be betting on the game.
I like them.
Yeah, I don't like that game at all.
We got the Miami Dolphins going to Foxborough, the Cam Newton era. The post-Brady era gets going.
I'm hearing Newton's not going to start, though.
Yeah, he's starting.
He is?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then somebody
the Patriots are giving up 6.5 points. I guess I like the Patriots, but I don't know.
Yeah, I take the Patriots. 6.5 is not really that much. And I'm not, the Dolphins. Who's going to be QBing for the Dolphins? Tua or
Fitzpatrick? Fitzpatrick.
Oh.
Yeah, he's going to start the season. But I would imagine that once they get,
Fitzpatrick is one of those guys, though. If he
gets going, yeah.
I know. I mean, that's
I changed my mind. I'm going to take the 6.5. I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Yeah, couldn't you see him? Couldn't you see Fitzpatrick getting hot and keeping that game close?
Yeah, he throws for 400 yards passing every time he plays the Eagles. So, I've seen it before many times.
Yeah, you know what? I would take the 6.5. The Patriots are going to have to show me something this year.
The Jets and the Bills. The Jets going to Buffalo. 6.5.
6.5's a lot for this time of year. I might take the Jets with the 6.5. I know Buffalo has a really good defense, but I think Darnold, a healthy Darnold, the Jets are going to score some points. So I would take the 6.5. I don't like the Jets to win the game, but I think 6.5 that'll keep it close.
Inside Philadelphia, Washington. I like Washington +6 here. I like the Eagles to win 24-20.
Yeah, I would take the Eagles and spot the points.
Here's one that I'm really confident in. Sunday, 1:00, Seattle going to Atlanta. I have no problem laying the 2 points with Seattle on the road. I think they take care of business against the Falcons. It's one of my more confident games.
I like that game.
I don't think
2 points.
Yeah, Seattle -2. They're on the road, but I don't care.
Yeah, but Seattle actually last year played well on the road. They played really well on the road.
Everywhere. When you have Russell Wilson, you can play good anywhere.
Yeah, no, I love Seattle in that situation. I don't think the Falcons are any good.
Neither do I. Here's another game I have start up, another game I love. The Chargers coming across country to Cincinnati. The Bengals are a 3.5-point home underdog on opening day with Joe Burrow. I love the Bengals here.
3.5-point underdog?
Yes.
If you're going to give me that half point, I'll take Cincinnati. Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow wins his debut. I think A.J. Green stays relatively healthy this year. I think Joe Mixon's a stud. I think Tyler Boyd's a stud.
No, listen, Cincinnati, I know they had a bad record.
I think the Bengals are going to be 6-7 win team this year. I think,
they've got some talent. I mean, they're not that's a team that wasn't as bad as their record. If Green is in the game and he stays healthy, there's no reason why they can't be a legitimate force, especially on offense.
Here's another dog I really like. I like the Arizona Cardinals getting 7 points at San Francisco. I think 7 is just way too much.
They're getting 7?
Yeah, Arizona +7 for San Francisco.
That seems like a lot of points. I think I would take the 7 points because I think Arizona's going to. I think
Arizona, they can score. They can light up the scoreboard, and you're getting points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to.
I love that.
Arizona's going to probably score 20 points, and if they score 20 points, I don't see San Francisco scoring 28. San Francisco's offense is just not that good. I mean, they got a good defense, but I mean, offensively, I don't see them scoring enough points to cover that kind of a spread. I mean, we'll see, but I'm with you there. I mean, especially with the additions the Cardinals have made on offense.
Yeah, Hopkins. Looks like Chrome chimed into the chat earlier, said that looks like they're going to have a new contract with DeAndre Hopkins soon. So
I mean, Hopkins is a real difference maker, and that's going to be huge for them.
Big one in the South, 425. I would assume that's the Fox game of the week. Tampa Bay is going to visit the Superdome, take on the Saints. The Saints are laying 3.5.
I'll take the Saints.
I'm taking Brady. I'll take the 3.5. I'll take the hook.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay.
Kind of liking a lot of these games.
I know that there's a lot of people that they're the vogue pick, kind of like the Browns were last year. They got this guy, they got this guy, they got this guy, they got this guy. You know what? They're still not going to be as good as the Saints. I take the Saints. I think the Saints win the game. I think they win by 10.
Sunday night, we got the Dallas Cowboys are visiting the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are a 3-point home underdog. I like the Rams. I
like the Rams too. The Cowboys on the road.
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to stop. I think Jared Goff and that offense, I think they're going to have a real bounce back year.
Yeah, and I also think that
it'd be a wild card team.
I also think that
they make the playoffs.
They haven't forgotten that pounding they took last year in Dallas at the end of the season. That they took quite the beating, and I think that that should still be fresh in their minds.
Your New York Giants are 6-point home underdogs on Monday night, Brad.
I'll take the 6 points.
That's an aggressive home dog.
Yeah, that's 6 points is a lot of points. In other words, what Vegas is saying the Giants absolutely stink, and they're going to get run off the field. I don't think that's.
I don't think they're going to get run off the field.
Yeah, I think, as Byron said, I think it's going to be a close game. If the Giants don't turn the ball over, I think that they have a chance. They have a chance to win this game, especially early in the season. I mean, he's right. If the Giants can run the football, which I think they will, they're going to be okay. Their offensive line is way better than it was before last year, and you know what? They scored some points last year too. Their defense was the problem. We'll see. We'll see about Pittsburgh. I don't know if early in the year a lot of these teams struggle offensively. Is Roethlisberger starting?
Yes.
Okay. He didn't play all season. I could see him having a little bit of rust, of game day rust. He didn't play. He missed the whole season last year.
And the last game, the doubleheader on Monday night, which I love, by the way. I wish they would play 2 games every Monday night, not play that stupid Thursday game. But I digress. The Titans are going to visit the Denver Broncos. The game is a pick'em, Brad.
It's a pick'em?
It's a pick'em.
Yeah, the Titans are going to win.
That's screaming Denver to me.
Yeah, the Titans are a better team. Although I know Denver is real good at home. Mm-hmm. But
Denver is good. I'll never bet on Denver.
I would hate to bet. I hate to bet against Denver at home. I like the Titans because they were real good last year. Denver, not so much. I mean, my brain is saying the Titans should win the game, but my heart is saying don't bet against Denver or you'll be very sorry. So
tough game.
That is a tough game.
I want to take Denver at home.
Yeah, I would have to take the Titans. And I see the Yankees now have given up 6 runs in the 6th inning. Their bullpen is once again falling apart and turned a 6-2 lead into an 8-6 deficit. and there's still one out in first and third for Toronto. So the Yankees continue to struggle, especially.
We're going to get into baseball next week. We have football next week. We'll have the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals coming up. Keep it here on A2D Radio. Keep it here on Monday nights. We're the Sports Hounds. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Shout out to Frank for keeping the train on the tracks for yet another Monday night. Doing a great job getting our interview off on time. Until next Monday, enjoy football, everybody.
Have a good night.